Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to your new moon report for May the 15th of 2018. Hope you guys can hear the music in the background. I have it's like a 4K meditative piano music background. It's like showing pictures of like the lake and stuff on my TV. I have some incense burning over here, and this is nice. And this is kind of really what this is about. This is about the new moon coming up here in just less than 24 hours. Actually, now it's 6:36 p.m. as I make this video on May the 14th, and the new moon occurs at 7:47 a.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time. So it's right around the corner, and Uranus is about to shift as well. So what an incredible time to be alive. Well, I just want you to take a moment to just embrace the current moment, you know? Just embrace the miracle that is life. It's incredible. You know, Taurus appreciates the finer things in life. Taurus, whereas Aries will just like kind of like run through a field of flowers, Taurus is like, oh, that flower is pretty. Oh, that's cool. Taurus gets distracted by a beautiful butterfly that's flying by. Taurus gets distracted by a dragonfly that lands on someone's nose. That's Taurus. And this new moon that we're having in Taurus tomorrow is really setting the seed for a new world, a new reality, where we learn to really appreciate the present moment. We become more aware of the present moment. And this is happening at the same time as the Uranus shift. So even on a quantum level, on a deep level, it's going to be electric. It's going to be electric. And you know, this is actually, I guess, technically the first new moon report I've made on my channel. I've made full moon reports, but I haven't made any new moon reports. And I'm not really sure why, but I'm guessing there's a particular reason why this happens to be the first one. You know, I guess I can make the excuse that in the past I procrastinated and I didn't get to it. But I think it's pretty fitting for my first new moon report to be this new moon, because this particular new moon is earth-shattering, earth-shaking, revolutionary, value redefining, self-worth revamping, an incredible revolution of confidence and hope. I would even say that things are moving forward. This is a reestablishment of faith. Faith in humanity, faith in our ability to really save this planet, faith in the universe and cosmos, that everything is working out. And you know, of course you want to look at where this is falling, in your chart. For me, it's falling in my 6th house. So it's like my day-to-day reality is about to make a shift. My day-to-day reality is about to change forever. And I'm setting the seeds to where I literally can organize my day in a way where I'm at play. And that's really what I'm trying to get at. I want to organize my day in a way where I'm at play. Because for me, it's like when I'm at play, that's like when you're in that really true flow state, you know? It's incredible, the innocence of children when you look at them. Because it's like they're not really worried about the past or the future. They're really just in the moment. And if you observe kids while they're playing, they learn so much and they're so curious as to what's happening. But it seems like they're just guided by this unwavering faith. Children jump into seemingly dangerous situations, but that's just because they don't perceive the danger. And while some might think that that's a bad thing, that they don't perceive the danger, because what happens if they get hurt? But I think what has happened here is that we as humanity have become far too cautious, actually. We have built up this structure in our society. We have built up these parameters and this security that's no longer really doing it for us. Why? Because people are becoming more anxious than ever before. People are becoming more depressed than ever before. And that's because of this disconnect from nature, this disconnect from people, this disconnect from the world, this disconnect from self, true self, from our higher self. So this new moon in Taurus is really setting the seed, and literally a seed, because Taurus being the second house and being a fixed earth sign means in many ways that it rules nature. So this is literally planting the seed to a new world, to a new earth, to a new you, a new emotional understanding of who you are, a new emotional understanding of what the world is, and how we can actually shift and morph it, because even though it being fixed earth, we also have, Virgo, which is mutable earth, which means that things can change. We also have Capricorn, which is cardinal earth, which means that things can be directed. So, and of course, it's interesting that this new moon is going to be trining the energies that are in Capricorn right now. It's going to be trining, Mars, which will be making a shift in the Aquarius later this week. And it'll be trining also Pluto retrograde, which is in Capricorn. This new moon is really asking each and every one of us to look deep within and feel deep within and realize that there is an earth in every single one of us. And it is of the utmost important right now that we protect, love, and embrace that earth. Because that is the only way that we're going to see lasting change on the outside world. It's the only way we're going to see it. It starts with you. It starts with you. I'm going to hop on over to the chart here and show you, and I think it's really interesting. I'm using actually one of my astrology program that I actually use to look up people's charts, and I just think it's interesting where this new moon is falling. All right, so let's go ahead and hop on over so I can show you what I'm talking about. All right, so guys, this is the new moon in Taurus that is occurring May 15, 2018 at 7:47 a.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time, so you can recalculate that based off of where you are. Now, we can see that the ascendant for this chart is actually 12 degrees of Gemini. And I think it's really interesting how the part of fortune is actually right on top of it, but we'll get back to that later. Now, I want you to imagine this chart as the collective energy. And think of it almost like, let's just say that our collective energy, our collective consciousness, that this is the chart of that energy right now, of our collective consciousness. And not just our collective consciousness, but the animals too, and the plants, because they have consciousness as well, and inanimate objects. So this is the entire collective consciousness. And if we were to look at it as one being, and let's just say that it's being reborn on this day. So this is, let's almost look at this as a birth chart. And let's take a look at the new moon from that, because this is what's being reborn in every single one of us. In some way, shape, or form, it's being reborn. But I want you to take a look at where this new moon is happening. It's happening in the 12th house of spirituality, of faith, of trust. But 12th house, of course, also rules delusions, prisons, asylums, You know, it's funny I say prisms. I notice that now when I say prison, I sometimes substitute the word prism for it. And there's a reason for that. I had a dream a while back. And in this dream, it was a very vibrant, profound dream. And there were these really beautiful electric blue crystals. It kind of actually reminds me of Uranus now that I'm thinking about it. But there were these really beautiful crystals. And I remember touching one of these crystals. And upon touching it, I saw the image of this elderly woman. Looked very wise beyond her years, but I saw the image of this elderly woman upon touching this stone. And I almost like to think of prisons as that. How it's actually energy encapsulated within a prism. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing, or these stones. But it's almost like, I want you to almost think of it as this thing that's being reborn in you, this like superhero that's being born within you, because that's what I like to think of this as too, is stuck within this prism, but it's being protected. It's had to be protected up until this point, because Uranus is about to make this shift, right? But look, it's in the 12th house. And of course, it's making a loose opposition to Jupiter. It's there, it's loose, but it's there. So really, Jupiter is in the 6th house right now, according to this chart. Retrograde, which means that, you know, we're looking at a way to expand our day-to-day reality and the fortune of everyone. Really, in the service that we give to other people. But as you can see, it is retrograde, meaning that we are having to revamp how our everyday reality looks. Well, how are we going to do that? We have to plant this seed of trust and faith in the universe that things are going to work out. I think it's incredible that this is happening in the 12th house. If you were to look at this almost like a child being born at the exact time, at the apex of the lunar new moon. That was kind of redundant, lunar new moon. This is what their chart would look like. Look at this, all this 12th house energy. Look at all the 11th house energy too. Let's not forget about the 11th house, because we have Chiron here in Aries, actually in the 11th house. So I think it's very interesting how Chiron is in Aries. In Aries, this is the sign of the self, of the person, of the ego. But according to this chart, it's this person, our collective consciousness, it's the 11th house. So this means that really we are healing the collective consciousness by learning to heal ourselves, learning to embrace and accept who we are. Right? Pretty awesome. I think actually it looks like Mercury here is technically in the 11th house as well. And Uranus is here too. Uranus, being in Aries, is actually in its natural house here in the 11th house, because Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. So look at that. This even further cements this collective shift that we are all about to experience with Uranus shifting. This is happening pretty much on top of the new moon. It happens on the same day. This is a reestablishing of faith, trust, and really learning how to be okay with who we are, but also realize that we are worth so much. We are so infinite and abundant, and that we really can do anything we set our mind to, because now Mercury is going to be here in the 11th house. Mercury here in the 11th house in Taurus is, I can really pull off anything. And I'm going to set my mind to it, and yeah, I might be a little stubborn because it's Taurus energy, but I'm going to be fixated on that goal, and I'm going to accomplish my goal. That's where our mind is right now. Part of fortune at 12 degrees Gemini, that's the ascendant. So this is coming like the mask. I like to think of the ascendant as someone's mask. And that's where we are. The part of fortune is the part in your chart. I like to think of it as little Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of fortune and expansion. The part of fortune is kind of like a mini Jupiter. And with it being at 12 degrees of Gemini, really it's signaling to this fact that We all are going to be experiencing these mini fortunes that they're just going to come up. They're just going to be revealed. And it's going to be rather amazing. Let's actually just go ahead and read this. It rounds up to the 13th degree. A pianist performs an original composition in the salon of a bordello, inspiring one of the girls to do a dance. Irrepressible creativity, expressing one's observations, ideas, and emotions in the audience, but polishing one's act so one can take it on the road. Creating wildly original art that celebrates beauty and ugliness, the ridiculous and the sublime. Shameless, of course. Integrating discordant notes into the song of life, resonating to a full range of human emotion and behavior, rising high or sinking low according to what one cultivates in oneself, hanging out with lowlifes. Sharing one's observation of life may be offhandedly sarcastic or ironic, but will bow to a well-honed argument. Developing artistic proficiencies so one can shine in public. Joyous self-expression and creative blocks or performance anxiety. Or versus creative blocks or performance anxiety. This right here. Joyous self-expression versus creative blocks or performance anxiety. That's what's going to happen. This is what the new moon is kind of even revealing. Are you going to joyfully express who you are and build from that space? Or are you going to continue to tell yourself these stories that you're not worthy, that you can't have it? Thus creating creative blocks for yourself and giving you performance anxiety. Because if you think of life as a play, even in my video, my daily adept report for today, I said that people are going to be acting off cue. So this is like, are you going to act off cue? And remember when I said that the message is going to be very silent? It's the 12th house. It's not very apparent. It's not direct. It's not in your face. That's the 12th house is ruled by Pisces. That's mutable water energy. It's going to be subtle. It requires a fine heart to listen to. I'm going to say heart because sometimes your ears can deceive you. It requires a fine heart to listen. I just thought it was incredible how it pops up in the 12th house. And we can even look at some of the other things around it. In fact, I'll even go ahead and read where it's at. Moon in Taurus, you have a need for financial and material security in order to maintain emotional well-being. While it is in your nature to manage your financial affairs with care, it is probable that you will have changeable material circumstances in life. In your emotional life, you desire constancy and faithfulness in others. You know how to enjoy the good things in life, and attachment to possessions and acquisitions is likely. There can be a risk of weight gain through overindulgence. Moon of the 12th house. You face reoccurring anxieties and fears that seem to come out of nowhere and can limit or affect your self-confidence. You are naturally shy and a private person when it comes to revealing your real feelings. You need frequent time out and seclusion to regain your emotional strength. Misdirected emotions and indiscretions could work against you, and the enmity of women is possible. This is really even signaling to the fact that really, for this new moon, at some point during the day, you really want to just take time and have your personal time with the universe and God, the God force, the goddess force. Take time out of your day tomorrow. Please, I really highly encourage you to do that, to work on your connection to spirit. Because it's going to be vitally important. It's going to actually give you the self-confidence to move through these times, because they are kind of anxious times. We have no idea what's going to happen. It seems like we could blow ourselves up at any minute, but we have the resources to make this world abundant for everybody. It's actually possible. It is actually possible. But are you going to allow yourself to fall into the old traps and fears and anxieties these false expectations appearing real. And it's not like we have to completely get rid of fear, because an element of fear is actually necessary. But are you going to allow it to control your life? That's the problem. A lot of people allow fear to control their life. A lot of people allow anxiety and depression to control their life. And yes, I can't speak for everyone, because I know that everyone's situations are different. But this new moon is really asking us to realize that we are infinite. We are one with spirit. We are not disconnected. If anything, this new moon in Taurus, having it being a fixed moon in the 12th house, really just establishes you are connected to spirit. You are connected to the source. You are connected to everything around you and within you. It's like we're coming home almost. We're coming home in many ways. I wanted to read this because this is kind of interesting. This is the Goldsmith revised Sabian symbol for the 25th degree of Taurus. Sculptor asks his model to remove her clothes and pose with her arms upraised and her body twisted. He begins to chisel her likeness from a column of black marble, deciding how much of one's private life to veil and how much to show to the public, throwing off one's inhibitions. Propriety versus impropriety, playing the game enough to retain one's respectability but inwardly being a bit of a libertine, sublimating raw sexual energy into solid artistic achievements. Success de scandal, erotic art. Discovering and exulting in one's extravagant personal style, developing and disciplined relationship with one's muse, or having muse-like relationships with the opposite sex. Putting lovers on a pedestal versus dragging them into wild, unbridled sex. Passions can get out of control. Appreciation of natural beauty. Appreciation of natural beauty. Appreciation of natural beauty. Staying fit and in shape. Plunging into dizzying whirlwind of creative activity. Solitary toil followed by public unveilings. Yep. That's what's happening. We are learning to appreciate the natural beauty of ourselves and of everyone. I think beauty is going to go through a big redefinition period during this new moon and with Uranus shifting into Taurus. A huge revival. A massive revival. I'm being called to look at Venus 25 degrees of Gemini. I want to just read the Sabian symbol for it. In the depths of the forest, an exiled druid king looks through ice-covered branches to the far reaches of the night sky, communing with divine intelligence that underlies natural forms. Tolkienesque, druidic. Nature as a magical kingdom, whose transient external forms are fractal-like extensions of eternal archetypes, perceiving the archetypal level of personality, astrology, raising human consciousness through astrology, yoga, and other spiritual techniques versus being at loss as how to effectively communicate one's insight, ill like outsiders by virtue of their radically different consciousness, resentful withdrawal, magnetically drawing other people's energy towards the crown chakra, psychedelic art mandalas, exploring magical vortexes, strengthening the electromagnetic lines of force found in the chi meridians of the body, spiritual realignment, recalling one's celestial identity. Guys, this is huge. Did you see just, I know a lot of it might be like fluffy spiritual jargon, but did you see how it wrapped astrology with the earth, learning to appreciate our body? The chi meridians of the body, exploring magical vortexes, the crown chakra. Do you see this? Yoga, spiritual techniques. This is what it's talking about. It's talking about raising the human consciousness, about becoming more connected with their body, therefore becoming more connected with the universe, my beloved. That's what's happening. And this is just Venus at Gemini. This is Venus in Gemini. Wow. I knew I was called to read that for a reason. And then we have Pallas. It's conjuncting Pallas at 26 degrees. Approval-seeking strategies of relating, perceptual skill, whether one is willing and or able to do the things that will please another. I also like to think of the Pallas Athena as how we guard the home front. That's what I like to think of it as. So this is really also signaling to like, how do we protect that time? You know, how do we keep that time sacred when we are connecting with the divine? You know, how do we keep that time sacred? And also, how do we protect the vessel of our body? How do we keep our body sacred? Because it is sacred. It's a divine vessel. So how do we protect that? You know, how do we safeguard that? You know, I think we're all looking for self-approval, because that's what Palace also is about. But that self-approval, even though it's in Gemini, so you might try to seek it through others, it has to come from within. Gemini represents the twins and the lovers in the tarot. But as I said in my reading earlier today, you're not really going to attract that lover until you find that love in yourself, or at least your relationship is not going to grow unless you start to love yourself. Look in the mirror, my beloved. You are worthy. You are abundant. Realize that. Actualize that. Become it. Be it. We are human beings, not doings. I think humans, we've spent so much time doing stuff. Now it's time to be. Now it is time to be, now more than ever. Let's click on Uranus. So I'm pretty sure it's going to, this is where it is. The goldsmith, the revised Sabian symbol for the 30th degree of Aries, or even the 0 point of Taurus. Ignoring their mother's call, a group of ducklings attempt to climb a steep mountain. Realizing their folly, they retrace their steps to find an easier route to the top. Trying something new, not so much to arrive at a goal as to discover one's own capabilities. Youthful overestimation of abilities. Must scale back their ambitions or fall back on other people's help. Taking the first tentative steps in big undertaking, taking bold steps versus taking baby steps or backpedaling, rejecting society's taboos and pursuing adventures that are out of bounds, strange adventures, novel, individualistic perspectives, self-discovery thinking about what one has learned from one's experience, about who one is and what one believes, steadily pursuing one's goals, that's Taurus, versus suspecting that the dream of life will always return to square one. Retaining childhood innocence versus staying from the path and finding oneself in some odd no man's land. Suspecting that the dream of life will always return to square one. That's us having these beliefs that we can't make it, so we're always going to come back to that square one. And yes, sometimes things take one attempt, 2, 3, 4, 10, 20, 50 attempts, but you don't technically ever return back to square one. But sometimes in our mind we like to make ourselves believe that. So are you going to retain your childhood innocence? And yes, this is talking about biting off more than you can chew, but also not allowing your curiosity to be saturated by doubt, therefore making you not wanting to still go on the adventure. Uranus going into Taurus is going on the adventure. We're literally going to be exploring our bodies more than ever in like a deep quantum electrical way. We're going to be exploring our earth more in a deep way. Oh man. Incredible. Just absolutely incredible. Are y'all ready? Are y'all freaking ready? Are y'all ready? Powerful new moon. Like I said, like this week with all these transits, it's kind of hard to separate the new moon from Uranus shifting from, Venus will shift into Cancer later, and Mars is going to be shifting into Aquarius. This is literally new beginnings, guys. This is a new world. This is a new Earth. We are shifting massively now. But yeah, I just wanted to show you all the fact that this pops up in the 12th house, and then we have this in the 11th house, Uranus' natural house. I think that's truly by design. I believe that is truly by design. Yeah. So I'm being called to just draw a couple of cards, just a color card or two. because I like to think of like these new moons as healing points and kind of like what we're like planting and stuff. So I'm gonna draw a healing card, and I will also draw just a regular tarot card as well, as far as like the intention of what's happening here. I shuffled this. Literally, I shuffled this guy, and I kid you not, I got this card earlier. Yellow. Purify your body. I don't really need to say much else. Purify your body. I got this card earlier, guys. If you watched my earlier video, I got this card earlier. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. The Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles is someone who is certainly confident in their abilities to manifest, but is not necessarily going to rush into it. They build their success. They realize that some things do take time to manifest and build, but sometimes those things are the most worthwhile. The things that we put hours of work into our craft. Delayed gratification is what I'm hearing. Delayed gratification is going to feel so much better from this point forward. And just the appreciation for the moment. Don't get so caught up on the destination. You really want to, the best way really to create and to learn and to build is when you go into every single moment with that innocence of a young child, but also like just that curiosity and that ingenuitive mind to put things together and to build from that. Like really investing yourself in the moment is really what's going to allow you to actually attract that abundance effortlessly, because you're not going to be worried about all of these things that could potentially block your manifestation. You're not going to be worried about it because you're going to be in the moment. This moment right here is valuable. It's sacred. It's the most valuable thing. So appreciate it. Love it. Reconnect back to your source. Reconnect back to your connection to source. Reconnect back to your body. Reconnect back to Mother Gaia. Reconnect. I promise you, even if you look at this, it's like Uranus being in the 11th house, which rules people, and Chiron is here too. Our collective is healing. But it starts with us. It starts within. I believe you. And I believe that we are living in the most miraculous times ever. It's a miracle to be witnessing all this. And I am super, super grateful to be experiencing it alongside all of you. And just know that no matter who you are, no matter what level of life that you might find yourself in, no matter what level of success you have defined upon yourself, no matter where you are, we are all in this together, and we are all shifting forever. Not just in this lifetime, but in future lifetimes as well. We will look back on this week, we will look back on this lifetime and be like, whoa, that was amazing. That was an incredible shift we went through. I believe we're going to create a beautiful, more abundant world. And we're going to realize just how beautiful and abundant it actually is, and we're just going to kind of fall in line with it. Just go with the flow. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And if you like a personal reading with me, my beautiful brothers and sisters, you can follow the link in the description below to theAquarianAdepts.com. And always remember, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, stand. Yahoo! Smile often. I hope and trust you have a miraculous day.